This is the BMW i3S, the content car that I bought a few weeks ago. But it wasn't the original one that I bought or was going to buy about a month or so ago. That had to go back. But it did highlight a point to me. It led me down a garden path, so to speak, where I came to realise that some of the content cars that I'm keeping an eye on, because I tend to have at least half a dozen in my sights, as it were, well, if I did buy them, who's going to repair them? Let me take you back to what started this all off. So as I said, it wasn't the i3S, it was actually a Renault Zoe that I bought. It was getting delivered, in fact it got delivered to my workplace, and it was a 40 kilowatt hour 2017 I think, very good price, battery owned, and that was going to be the next car. However, it arrived, I had a look at it, faulty heater. The main independent dealer, should I say, it was very good, he said, "Oh, I'll tell you what, you get it fixed, I'll pay for it," and that saves us taking the car back, him fixing it and then delivering it again and so forth. So that's what I agreed to. So I drove the car back from my work, got back here, and by that point in the heavy rain, it was just, well, it was peeing inside the car. There was water coming in the inside of what turned out to be the windscreen. There was, well, whatever it was. It got to the point when I'm like, I'm not sure I want this car anymore, if I'm honest. Who knows what's gone wrong with the electrics with all this water coming in? Maybe that's what's wrong with the heater. And when water comes in, how long's it been doing this for, so forth. So anyway, he took the car back, gave him my deposit back, all was good. So then I set my sights on the market again. Got Auto Trader out, started cycling through. One of those was a used Tesla Model S. And I'm talking about a 2014, 15, 16 car here that had 150 to 200,000 miles on it. I thought that might make interesting content. What's a real hyper-mile used Model S going to be like to live with? In fact, let me know in the comments if you think that might be interesting. Okay, so if I buy a used Model S, let's use that specific example in this video. If I buy that and something goes wrong, like the heater goes wrong, the basics any garage can take care of, the suspension components, the tyres, the obvious stuff. Anyone can do that and has done. I'm not got any issues with that sort of stuff. The high voltage batteries and things like that, again, I'm not really worried about that at all, especially as the majority of them are still under warranty anyway. But with the Tesla, the battery's out of warranty, the car, the whole thing is out of warranty essentially. So I rung up a few of the garages that I've used in the past. There's the one that I take the TT to, that's a VAG specialist, there's Mercedes, Mini specialist. I've used a few, but essentially none of them would look at a used Tesla Model S, which wasn't surprising. I didn't expect them to, but I thought I'd ask anyway because it's different, isn't it? Even though there are some shared components, a car's just a car, there is something specific to EVs that you would need to know, certain equipment that you would need and so forth. So I then did some more searching. And there's an organisation called HEVRA, the Hybrid and Electric Vehicle Repair Alliance, I think it is. And it's a great organisation. It has to absolutely exist for EVs to become a repairable thing for outside of the dealer network anyway. And in fact, let me get my phone so I don't get this wrong. Our member garages have been checked for the right qualifications, tools and equipment to service and repair electric and hybrid vehicles. All of our members get support from us too, so you've got the experience not only of your local garage, but our entire network. So it's great, they support each other, and if one comes across a problem that the others might know how to fix, fantastic. It actually says here under repairs, regardless of whether you need a mechanical repair, electrical repair, or a repair to the high voltage system, so that's the main batteries in there, our network of leading electric vehicle repair specialists can get you back on the road. Fantastic. So I looked at the map on HEVRA's website, and as I've known for a couple of years, there are two in the closest town to me, two HEVRA garages that are part of the alliance or whatever, two members. I rung the first one and said, I'm thinking about buying a used Model S. Would you be able to repair it, diagnose it? Maybe not absolutely everything, but at least can I bring it to you? No, we don't do that, I'm afraid. No, we don't do that. Okay, that's odd. Move to the second one. Essentially the same thing. No, we just service and MOT electric cars. We don't repair them. We don't have the tools for that. We don't have the equipment. We just service and MOT. That's all we're doing. I'm like, well, I thought you were a member of Hevra. Well, we choose to do whatever we choose to do, as you'd expect from an independent garage. They can't force them to repair something. But it did say on their website that all of our members can do this. They said they're physically not able to do it. They can. They don't have the equipment. They don't have this. So then I rung the third closest garage, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. And at that point, I just give up because they all said the same thing. With my specific example, a used Tesla Model S, out of warranty, won't even look at it. Some of them would look at, because I give them the Renault Zoe heater as an example, would you look at that? And some said, well, yeah, we'd probably have a crack at it. But when it comes to, now, I'm not interested in Teslas, I'm sorry, servicing and MOTing, basic repairs only. So at this point, I contacted Hevra. I said, I'm having real difficulties here. And I think it was the 9th closest garage to me that they found on my behalf, so that was nice, that would actually look at a used Model S. Unfortunately, for me anyway, from door to door, it's a roughly 60-mile round trip. Now, I don't want this to become a Hevra rant because that's not my intention. They need to exist, they're doing good work, but that map, I'm sorry Hevra, and I did email you about this. My last email was saying what I'm about to say now, and I didn't get a reply from that. It's misleading because, quite frankly, I thought there was all these garages and there isn't. It's not your fault, but it'd be nice if we had a tiered map. These do service and MOTs, these actually repair them. I don't know, it needs changing, clearly. But forgetting that for a second, I'm in a situation where I'm not sure if I want to do this Model S thing now. What if something does go wrong? I'm going to have to rely on Tesla. Now, I know they will fix it. I'm not saying we'll end up with undrivable cars. That will not happen. But who would take an 11-year-old Golf that's done 150,000 miles on it to Volkswagen, for example? It just doesn't happen, does it? You know, there'll be some, I guess, but ultimately you take it to a specialist or someone local. And dealers now are getting fewer and far between for financial reasons, I guess. And to be perfectly blunt, I wouldn't trust a main dealer with a weird issue. I've got 20 years of experience, which basically backs me up on this, and I'm sure lots out there will have the same thing. But so many stories. The last one I had, oh, you need a new ECU. £950. What if it's not the ECU? Would look favourably on any future work. They just replace components, it seems, until it fixes the problem. They don't actually diagnose it, or most of them don't. There will be some out there that are actually quite good. I'm not having a main dealer bash, but quite frankly, I don't want them to diagnose a weird issue. I want somebody who knows what they're doing, and there's only a few people in the dealer network that probably know that. As it turned out in that specific example, the ECU they wanted to replace on my car, it turned out it was an injector fault. £45, changed it myself, problem fixed, because a specialist looked at it rather than the main dealer. So whether you agree with that or not is immaterial. I will not want to take my Tesla to a Tesla main dealer because of the cost. I would prefer to take it somewhere local, support the local garages, and it wouldn't be as expensive, quite frankly. Yesterday, I read from somebody on one of these groups, someone I actually know, I think it was £950 Tesla wanted to charge him to repair whatever issue it was. It was something to do with the mount on one of the motors or something. Took it to a known independent specialist, EV specialist. £250 later, it was fixed, and they replaced a completely different part that Tesla wanted to replace. So it wouldn't have fixed the problem anyway. So there's a little bit of that, there's a little bit of the finance of it. Either way, we need local garages to do the EV fixie thing, don't we? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not having to go to any garage here because it's a huge investment to get this level of diagnostic equipment, the training. You know, it's a small industry. If you think about it, we're talking about cars that were probably from, well, when did the EVs come out in the UK? 2011, realistically 2012. And even then we're talking in a few hundred, maybe a few thousand in the first 2 or 3 years. I think it was 2020 when they said they sold more full electric vehicles in 2020 than all the previous 8 years combined, or something like that. So in terms of cars that are well out of warranty that you would want to take to an independent garage, we're probably only looking at a few thousand here, out of millions upon millions in the UK. Even if you counted every full electric vehicle in the country, I think it only corresponds to about 2% of all cars that are on the road, so to speak. So we've still got a very small, market, I guess, for these garages to pitch themselves to. We can repair your EV. It's not going to happen overnight, but ultimately, It has to happen, certainly if the government are adamant that we're going down the full electric route. The garages need to be in place before we get to that stage, not the other way around. It's a bit chicken and the egg, but that's where problems that I'm not sure how to fix, to be honest, need to be solved, whether it's a government grant or incentive or interest-free loans or something for garages to actually put this investment in to adapt to an ever-changing industry. And it's happened many, many times before. 15, 20 years ago, I remember reading lots about all these ECUs who are going to kill the local garage because they won't have the equipment to fix them. No, they'll just adapt, or at least those that want to will adapt. So I'm stuck. I'm in a position where I'm not sure what to do here. Do I take a chance on this? Because I'll be selling this car on. I don't want to sell a car that's got faults to someone else, especially being on social media. I won't get away with that. But ultimately, it's annoying that this is where it is. For a couple of years, I thought I had this safety net of these local garages that clearly don't exist. And ultimately, we need the Cleveleys of this world, which I have to mention because that's all I'll get in the comment section. When I put this video, so to speak, in a tweet, all I got is take it to these, take it to these, take it to these. I'm well aware of Cleveley, but they're a 400-mile round trip from me. That ain't going to happen. And before you say they do a mobile service, that ain't for everything, and it certainly isn't anything that would require diagnostics for a day or two. They're not going to keep the car on the roadside for 2 or 3 days while they poke at it or regas the air conditioner, whatever. I did ring them about the Renault Zoe, and they said we'd need that in for the faulty heater for 2 or 3 days to diagnose it. It's not, you can't do that in a mobile environment. That's ridiculous. And of course you can. It makes sense. So it's not a mobile service that they're going to do anything anywhere. It's obviously restricted to the basics, which is fine. And if I had a Cleveley down the road, would be sorted. The fact that you ask anybody in the electric vehicle community, who would you take an electric vehicle to outside of the dealer networks? Oh, well, I would take it to these guys. We've got one garage that I know of anyway that has got a reputation for this in the whole country. You can see where I'm going. This is something that the government, the council, somebody needs to do something about. This is why I keep on badgering my MP about such things, because I'm not one of those that just sits back and thinks, well, it might fix itself. I would like to shout at somebody until something's fixed, or highlight a problem is probably more accurate, until the problem goes away. Because then if we do that at everything we can find, when it comes to EVs anyway, there won't be any problems to shout about, to complain about. So we will end up with what we need. I don't want to just put my fingers in my ears and go, oh, I'll be fine, electric vehicles are brilliant, blah, 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 blah. So that's it, really. I have an EV, which I really like, and I'm not worried about. But if I ended up getting a Model S of that age, or even a Model 3, my car, my Tesla Model 3, is out of warranty right now. The battery and drivetrain isn't, but the car itself is. So if the heater goes on that, or there's an infotainment problem, or whatever, I'm going to have to take it to Tesla, which I don't particularly mind, but again, there's a cost involved to that. So yeah, it's not exactly what I'd call a positive EV video on this. I'm sorry guys, but again, we need to highlight the issues rather than pretend they don't exist. Otherwise, they definitely won't get fixed. So let me know, please do let me know in the comments. Do you know of a garage, and we'll stick with the same example, that would actually fix or diagnose a Model S, a well out of warranty full electric Model S, EV, Zoe, Leaf? There's not many other options of that age really, because there's not many cars around, but do you know of one outside of the one I've already mentioned anyway? Does this put you off EVs? I'm talking about old used ones now, of course. Are you happy to stick with the dealers? Do you have someone nearby? Does it change anything for you? It's not so much paying for the repair, it's the inconvenience of it all. Again, having to take a day or two off to get a car repaired shouldn't be a thing. You got subscribe and like and all the usual YouTube crap, which YouTube channels say for a very specific reason. If you ever want to help a channel out, just put a comment in. Click a like button, because any interaction with a YouTube channel will help the algorithm, so to speak, push it on other people. So you don't have to give anyone any money, just type a comment in. What can I get you to type in? For those that are still watching at this late stage, of which there is probably very few, tell me a joke. That's what we usually do. Tell me a joke in the comment section, because then it will help the channel and might give someone a laugh. So again, thanks for watching. Look forward to your jokes. Try and keep it clean, social media clean. And I'll see you soon.